Hello, my most amazing artists! Today we're learning about the artist Wayne Thiebaud. Wayne Thiebaud is known for his artwork depicting lots of sweet treats. He is known for painting all kinds of sweet treats that Americans tend to love, like ice cream and candy and donuts and cakes, all kinds of things that are really yummy and sweet. He is 100 years old and still living today. He just celebrated his 100th birthday on November 15th of this year. He was born in Arizona in 1920 and now lives in Long Beach, California, and is a contemporary artist, meaning he is still alive and creating and painting today. Thiebaud even had an internship at the Walt Disney World Company in 1936 when he was only 16. He even got to draw some of the Disney characters that we see today. He temporarily worked there before becoming an artist on his own and creating these sweet treats that he is known for and becoming a famous pop artist because of the paintings that we associate with our pop culture. A lot of these things are 3D looking. He makes his paintings look three-dimensional by playing with light and shadow. Today we will be creating our own artwork inspired by Wayne Thiebaud. To start out with, you're going to get one piece of paper from the center of your table. You're also going to get your supply bin. So when your number is called, you will get your paper from the middle and your supplies for today. Make sure you wait until your number is called and then follow along with me in the video. Even if you want to work ahead, try to use pencil and slow it down because I might do it differently than you might have drawn it. If you don't like it, you can always do it again after your own way or change things and add your own details. We always start out by writing your name and class code on the back in pencil and then flip it over. When you're ready, we will all start. This time, I'm going to call your seat numbers just as if I were there with you. So listen for your seat number, and when I call you, you can go ahead and get your supplies and your paper from the middle. If you sit at seat number 1, go ahead and get your paper and your supplies. After seat number 1 gets their supplies, go ahead and write your name and class code in pencil on your paper. And then it is seat number 2's turn. If you sit at seat number 2, go ahead and get your supplies and your paper. Everybody should be getting their supplies and now writing their name on their papers. We can always ask to pause the video if needed, but I'm going to go ahead and get started if you're working with me. I'm holding my paper horizontally side to side and making 2 dots near the top. Not at the very tippy top, but near the top. I'm going to make 2 dots so that way I can connect the dots with a big curvy line. After I make my top arch, I'm going to go ahead and connect the bottom now to those dots. I'm making a little smiley line or an upside down arch facing up to make this big ellipse shape. An ellipse is like an oval, but even longer, almost like a football. But I don't want the ends to be pointy. I want them to be rounded. It's okay to make mistakes. Just draw light, light, light till you get it right. I'm pressing hard with my pencil so that you can see it on screen. Now I'm going to make 2 lines that go vertical down towards the bottom of the paper, but not quite touching the bottom, just near the bottom middle. Then I'm going to stop those lines and I'm going to connect them with more curvy lines. Now notice I'm not going to be drawing straight lines across my paper. It's not straight across like a pencil being held there. I'm curving it out. And then I go to the other side and curve around. Now I'm going to stop before those 2 lines meet. Those 2 curved lines at the bottom coming out towards you are going to start to build this into a cylindrical shape. This cylinder shape is going to make your cake look 3-dimensional or 3D like it's popping out. Notice I didn't finish my line. That's important. This is going to become a slice out of my cake. I'm going to connect my unfinished lines with a vertical line to the top. So I'm going to take that one line and draw a straight vertical line towards the top. Go ahead and do yours now. If you aren't with me or you got a little bit behind, don't get frustrated. Try your best today, and that's all that matters. You're going to be able to even take these home today, and you can make another one if this one doesn't work out. You even have the directions on your table so that you can work ahead, or if you get a little bit behind, you can look at them again. This is the tricky part. This is why it was important to use pencil. I'm going to make 2 dots, one above my other lines near the middle there, and then one above my top line. It kind of would build a triangle if I were to connect all 3 of those dots there. So I draw 2 dots, and now with those 2 dots, I am going to make that arrow shape. Now I'm going to connect my dots with 2 diagonal lines. Those go side to side. I'm going to go ahead and draw another diagonal line, and then same thing on the bottom, but pointing towards the top, kind of looking like an arrow. So I'd connect these dots with diagonal lines as well. This is why it's important to draw light till you get it right. I might need to erase at this point, and that's okay. Just make sure that you erase in your safety zone of your letter L so your paper doesn't rip. Then I'm going to connect those 2 dots in the middle with a vertical line going down to the other dot. Again, if it's not perfectly straight, nobody's perfect. Turn your mistakes into happy accidents. There's no reason to get upset. This cake is just for fun. Then I'm going to use my eraser to erase that line that's going through. That's stopping it from looking 3D from when I first connected my lines. But now, if I erase that little line there, it's starting to look like there's a slice out of my cake. Maybe if I want to add layers in my cake of frosting, I'm going to go ahead and draw more diagonal lines. Same direction as those 2 that I connected at the top, I'm going to keep drawing those arrows inside of the cake. I leave about 1 inch or a 1/2 inch to 1 inch in between each layer of my cake because a cake wouldn't have a ton of layers all next to each other. They're usually at least 1 inch apart. Or you don't even have to have layers in your cake. Now I'm going to draw the table for it to sit on. This cake would probably be sitting on a table, and you wouldn't see that table like the legs of it. You would just see around it, maybe the tablecloth or the surface of the table, and then the wall behind it. You can decorate your cake however you want. You can add frosting, you can add decorations, you could add candles if you wanted to, you could add something for Thanksgiving decorations, you could write your name on that cake, you could pretend you're writing your name with icing. This is the part where you get to get super creative and come up with what kind of cake you would want to serve at your Thanksgiving dinner. So you can go ahead and design your cake now. I'm going to design my cake more like Wayne Thiebaud did in one of his cakes inspired by his internship at Disney, because you know that I love Disney. So I'm going to go ahead and design mine with a Mickey Mouse on the top and some frosting on the sides, looking a lot like one piece that he did way back in his early days of his paintings. I'm going to use a Sharpie to outline my cake so that you can see it better on the screen. But if you do not want to use a Sharpie, you don't have to. You will have the option to add color though. So if you just use graphite, you could practice some of the shading that Wayne Thiebaud was famous for. He was famous for adding the shadows and playing with light. I'm going to do that with my colors instead of with my pencil or my Sharpie. With my Sharpie, I'm just outlining my lines to really make them stand out and show the ones that I liked. If there was a line I didn't like that I drew with pencil, now's my chance to cover it up with the Sharpie. Nobody's gonna know if you made a mistake, if you turn it into a happy accident. After I'm done outlining with Sharpie and erasing my pencil lines using the safety zone of my letter L, remember, I'm not coloring in with the Sharpie marker unless there's a part that's black. In this case, I needed the black for Mickey Mouse, and that was okay to do a little bit. But you mainly want to use Sharpie if you decide to outline. There's a thick Sharpie and a thin Sharpie, but I used my thick Sharpie so you can see it really well on the screen. If there was something super tiny that you didn't need a thick Sharpie for, well, you could use the fine point one for that. Now I'm going to use crayons to color in my cake. I'm using bright colors that pop. So I'm going to color my cake, say like maybe pink and some orange frosting, something crazy and bright, just like Wayne Thiebaud was known for. I'm also going to make sure that I always sign my artwork in the bottom right corner, just so that everyone knows who made the cake. That way, if you take it home for Thanksgiving, everyone knows who made that art cake, even if you can't bake a real cake. So now I'm going to go ahead and color the inside for showing that cake and that frosting layer. So maybe if my frosting was orange, I don't know what kind of cake this is, maybe creamsicle, then I'm going to go ahead and color the orange layers and then some regular vanilla cake color. You can make a chocolate cake, you can make a strawberry cake, you can make a rainbow cake with rainbow layers inside. You can do whatever you want to design your cake. You can even design the tablecloth And if you want to get fancy like Wayne Thiebaud, you can add that shadow behind the cake. He was famous for playing with light and shadow when he painted. So we could do the same with our crayons. You could add shadows and you could even add highlights. All right, my most amazing artists, I cannot wait to hear about the awesome work that you create today. Have fun and make sure you do your best work and then clean up when you're done. Make sure you put back all your art supplies and sanitize it before you put it back to help out your substitute clean up. It's always kind, and especially when I'm not there. I expect that you do even better when I'm not. All right, artists, make sure that you use an art wipe and sanitizer and clean your area before you go. Remember, you can take these home with you. You don't have to leave them in the art room. We're going to leave those bins empty and just full of blank paper today. If you do finish, you have the option to create another one or use one more paper to do some free draw time. Have fun!